Most painting contractors do not want you to know the difference between facing off trim and cutting in trim on the exterior of your home. There isn't much of a difference in terms of protection. However, the aesthetics and the architecture differences are very stark. I happen to really like the idea of cutting in trim and making that trim pop versus making it just kind of blend into the side of the house. So I'm just going to show you the two differences, but this is something I don't want you to know because the amount of time that it takes to face off trim compared to the amount of time it takes to cut in trim is significantly different. So this will change the amount of profit that they can have on a job and or the cost to you, the homeowner. So if you prefer to have that trim pop and have really good architecture, then my suggestion is to have them cut it in. And this is something that if you're looking to have your house painted, this is something you want to ask the contractor about and make sure that they're doing it the way that you want it, rather than getting the job done and then not having it done the way that you would like and having them just face it off. So there's a big difference between the facing off and cutting in that trim. And I'm going to show you real quick what those differences are. So as I get close to the house here, you'll be able to tell on this particular section along here that this has been cut in. So the trim was done first and then the house siding was cut into it. There's a couple different ways of doing that. However, in this instance, it was cut in by hand and the trim was rolled. A lot of painters will spray the siding and then paint the trim second. And when they do, they just face off this piece. And all they did was take the roller after the body of the house or the siding was painted and rolled over this like that in order to paint this trim. So you lose the actual aesthetics and the pop of the trim compared to the other section of the house where the trim is painted all the way up to this piece and then this is cut in. So those are the differences. Is you're losing this architectural aspect of the trim by not having it cut in where it meets the siding in order to have that pop. So those are the big differences between cutting in and facing off. Facing off is going to take way less time, and it's something that usually a lot of contractors will do only because it saves them time and they can be a lot faster and more profitable on a project. However, the actual look of the house doesn't look very good, in my opinion. Now, again, it doesn't change protection of the house, of the paint job, but it just looks way different when you are having it done the other way, which is to cut everything in and have it look really nice and crisp, versus this line here, and you just kind of lose the trim depending on how you're looking at it and the angle that you have as you're walking around the house. You'll be able to notice a big difference.